Well, welcome everybody. This is usually our team call, but what we found last week is we opened this up to a bunch of leaders across Canada. We had their new people jump on. We had people that have been in the business for up to 10 years. And we found that by opening up this team call, we were learning, we were getting questions from other team members, other teams questions that was actually helping to teach a lot of people about not only about how that they came to be with their stories, but also about the steps that they got there. So I just wanted to welcome you to the second Back to Basics series that we have been hosting. This is open to anyone across Canada. So if you are watching this recording, join us next week on Sunday night. We are going to switch from the Monday night to Sunday night because a lot of people haven't been able to jump on. We want everybody to have an opportunity to ask questions, to learn from these incredible leaders. And without further ado, we have the amazing Amanda Britt that is joining us tonight. She is partner to Michael Barker. They have built an incredible team called Team Grit. They are Isagenix millionaires. They just hosted an amazing event on the West Coast with Jim and Kathy Coover, where I got a chance and the opportunity to hear Amanda's amazing story. And I just said, this is so good that we have to share this with more people. So I asked her at that event if she would be willing to jump on this team call and to share her story tonight. And I don't want to take any more time, but I just want to introduce you guys to this beautiful woman who's going to be sharing her story and about her steps that she's been able to do to not only share with other people, but how to get the people that she's sharing with then to either pay for their pack or to build their business as well. So welcome, Amanda. Welcome everybody to the call. And I would love for you to share your story if you'd be willing.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited. And thank you for asking. Thank you for this awesome call. So my Isagenix story began about 6.5 years ago when my son was 2. My parents actually started Isagenix over 10 years ago. They just wanted to lose some weight. They tried everything, and they had been really hit hard in their businesses by the recession. And so they were under a lot of stress, and they had lost a lot of their business. And so this was kind of their last-ditch effort to just get their health back, and they transformed completely. 360, they lost 80 pounds between the two of them. I watched it all in front of my eyes, and I was like, okay, I'm so happy for you guys. But it wasn't until I went through university, I had my son, I was a single mama, and I was just exhausted. But I really felt like I was wearing the exhaustion with a badge of honor. I was working 14, 15-hour days, full-time nanny, doing the mom thing, totally just done. And finally, my mom was like, you look great, and you're in your 20s. Like, why don't you just try this and see, just prove me wrong. Do something, because you need to do something. And I knew that I needed to do something, but I didn't quite trust that this was what was going to be for me. So I thought, you know what? They have been talking to me about this for 4 years, and they're going to keep talking to me about it if I don't just try it and prove them wrong. So I thought the worst thing that I could do is just try it and send it back, get my money back, and then they're not going to talk to me about it anymore because I tried it. It didn't work for me. And so I think it's kind of funny, but I know that in the back of my mind, I really hoped and prayed that this would be a solution for me because I was exhausted. I was waking up exhausted. I was putting my son in the couch to watch TV so I could get an extra 15 minutes of sleep just to run out the door and be late every day and be in this constant state of just really high stress. And that's how I lived. And then I'd come home and I would fall asleep with him at like 6 p.m. because I was so tired. And so when I put the products in my body, as skeptical as I might have been, I felt that day 5, I woke up before my alarm, before my 2-year-old. I felt amazing. I was like, this is the weirdest coincidence, but let's roll with it. And I really realized that I was transforming. I was lit up. It was like somebody gave me life again. My skin started changing color. I just felt like somebody flicked on a light switch and I was back. And the me that I thought was gone forever was like totally there. And so Michael had mentioned to me, so he actually helped my parents get started. And he's been with Isagenix almost 15 years now. And so he had said, he had helped me get set up. And he's like, there's really great rebates. He knew I was a single mama and I was absolutely struggling. I was in a deficit every single month, despite working as many hours as I could fit in the day. And it was actually a really big stretch for me to even get my first pack. And so he's like, I think it'd be great if you really took advantage of this amazing business opportunity and this business model. And I was like, heck to the no. Like, that's a no for me. And so I shut him down right away. I was like, I don't want to hear about that ever again. And I'm not going to tell us all. And so he was like, whoa, okay, cool. He's like, but when people start asking you what you're doing, because they will ask, because you are going to have amazing results, just send them to me because I love to help people. And I was like, sure, I don't have any friends, but cool. And it was true. I had 3 friends. That was it. And I went to work. Everybody at my workplace was already on Isogenics. I was the last man standing. And because I worked for one of my parents' companies. And I didn't really have a social life because I was working all day. And so I kind of laughed it off. And when I went into Starbucks one morning and the manager sat me down, she's like, what are you doing? I was like, what do you mean, what am I doing? She's like, you're doing something. I saw you do something. You used to be sad and miserable, and you are so happy, and your skin is glowing, and I just need whatever you're having. I was like, I don't know, talk to my friend Michael. He loves to help people. And so I would just send my referrals to Michael, and being the smart person he is, he helped me get my rebates and get my products paid for. And people were coming to me and they're like, thank you for changing my life. I've never felt this good before. I've been looking for a solution. Thank you. I can't ever thank you enough. And I was like, whoa, Michael, why are all these people coming to me saying all these thank yous? And like, they're having results like I'm having. And he's like, well, because it's nutrition and it works for every body and it's just really good. And so I thought, okay, I liked getting the rebates. And I thought, I'm going to look into this a little bit more. And what ended up happening was I started kind of going for it. And the company that I worked for, again, in the recession, got hit really hard. And so I was one of the last employees left at this point, and it was Christmas. And as a single mom, I had saved my last paycheck before Christmas to get all of my son's gifts. And that was when basically they kind of said, like, this is the end of the line for us and we can't afford to pay anybody. And so I remember going to Michael's and I sat in Ricky's and I bawled my eyes out and I was like, I can't do Christmas. Like, who can't do Christmas? And I remember him like, okay, this is what we're going to do. And he mapped it out for me. And that was when I got really serious about my business. And he's like, you need to do every single thing that I tell you to do. And I was like, I will do anything at this point. Like, I've got Christmas on the line here. And so he's like, all right, let's do it. And that was when I implemented and I really started listening to what he said to do to build my business. 6 weeks later, I was Crystal Executive, and there's really cool things that happen out of that. And so I went from kind of failing forward, trying to do things my own way. But when I really push came to shove and I just did every single thing that he told me to do, I was able to actually create the results that I had been looking for. So some of the things, the first thing that he implemented was because I was sharing Isogenics and I was sharing Isogenics so passionately, people were kind of shut off to it a little bit. And he just wanted me to put everybody in touch with him again. And so that's what we did. And so I went from having a very one-dimensional business to a very deep business, because I would just keep putting people back to Michael. Let's talk to my friend Michael. Let's share your results. And that's what created the incredible depth in my organization. And I still do that to this day. So we call it the three-way call. I just say, come talk to my friend and we're going to get you help set up for success. And that's pretty much it. So I don't make it weird, but for the first little bit, I was like, no way, Jose, I'm protecting everybody. And once I opened it up and really listened, that's when things started to create depth for me. So in the beginning, kind of backtracking a little bit there, everybody said no that I asked to join Isogenics. So if everybody says no, how can you possibly build a business? So I had to make the no's work for me. And I knew that Michael was a referral. So he was actually taught David Wood's kids Taekwondo and asked him, hey, what's hot in the nutrition world? And he referred him to Warren Lance, who then enrolled him. And so I knew if Michael was a referral, that he always taught me to ask for the referrals. So every time somebody was like, nope, I don't want to do that, I would then say, okay, I am so passionate about being a stay-at-home single mom, and I really want to help a lot of people. Who do you know that's looking for these results? Who do you know that's looking for good nutrition? And every single time they would give me a name. They would tell me somebody. And so I enrolled a lot of aunts and family members and people's friends. And so I built the foundation of my business on referrals. It was just, so anytime somebody said no, it was like, cool, this is an opportunity. So I got really good at kind of dealing with that no. And that's what I built pretty much the start of my business on.
That is incredible. Like, I love the fact that you got excited when people said no to you because you're like, awesome, great, let's get that referral going. And that is so, so key, I think, for a lot of people on this call that, it's so easy to get disheartened when you hear no from somebody because you're like, oh, I really needed to build this business, or I really needed to pay for my pack. And he said, no, what am I going to do now? So do you want to dive a little bit into like the wording that you would use to get somebody onto a three-way call, and then about maybe how that call would work for people that have been feeling like protective of their people? Because I know, for instance, that was something I was so afraid of. I was like, if I'm going to bring my 20-year friends onto a three-way call, first of all, I don't know what they're going to say, and they're probably going to embarrass me. And second of all, they're going to feel like they're going to think I'm dragging them to something that's like dragging them to the slaughterhouse kind of thing. You know what I mean? So do you want to kind of dive into that a little bit and explain what that would look like for someone?
Totally. I was afraid of it because I never wanted anybody to feel pressured, and I didn't want them to feel like cornered. And so my biggest thing is I always let people know right off the go now, still to this day, is I'm just here to provide you with the information for you to make the best decision for you. It is 100% up to you, whatever you do with the information. I just want to make sure that I give you the information so that you have the opportunity to really evaluate this. And so even now when I'm getting on, like kind of setting up the three-way call, I'll do it in a couple different ways. I make sure every single new person at some point between when they enroll to when they get their box, they have talked to somebody other than me on the phone with me. And so wherever that falls in, you can kind of take what you already do. And I'm really passionate about, if you're doing stuff that's working for you right now, don't just change it all up. So do 80% of what is proven to work for you and only switch it up about 20% to try some new things. So don't do a complete overhaul if what you're doing is working for you. Now, if it's not working for you, then that's good. Then we'll be able to revamp that. But so especially when I was first getting started, I had those 3 friends. They all said no. So I also started building in the kind of what we call cold market. So I would go, the Starbucks baristas were huge for me. Because I knew that I had them for like that 90 seconds in their training. They're supposed to be having a conversation with you while they're making your drink. So I knew I had them for that little bit of time. And so I would start asking them, hey, how's your day? That was my first question. And then they'd be like, oh, I'm really tired. Or, oh, I've been trying to go to the gym lately. Or they would just totally tell me. And sometimes it'd be like, I'm having an awesome day. I'm like, that's amazing. Like, so good. And then I would still try and keep it in a habit to frequent the same places so I could get to know people. But most of the time people would be like, I'm just really waiting for my shift to be over because I'm exhausted. And then I'd be like, you know what? I actually used to feel that way too. Do you mind if I send you an email, or do you mind if I send you a Facebook message and explain to you what I'm doing? Because I think you might like this. And like 10 times out of 10, they're like, heck to the yes. So I'll add them on Facebook, I'll add them on Instagram, I'll get their email. It was like old school, so I would do email and phone number because Facebook wasn't really big in the very beginning, but now I'll add them on social media. And then I'll send them something. And then they come back and ask questions. I'm like, great, I'm going to give you a call, and I may or may not have my friend so-and-so on the line or whichever. I'll kind of pair it with somebody who's similar. And a lot of the times I'll get Michael to do it, or like we do through calls for each other all the time. And so then they're like, great, cool. And then we get on the phone and I introduce Michael and I mute myself for the entire time. And at first it felt like I was going to die, not even because I'm like, I want to say all the things. But I ended up realizing that what was happening was all of my business builders, all my personally enrolled executives all said the exact same thing. When they came in and I did a call with Michael, they all said, you are making that kind of an income doing that, and all you did was introduce me to Michael. I can do that too. Bring it on, sister. And in fact, they thought they could do a better job than me, which is perfect. So I'm like, yes, that's if you make it look really hard. So if you do everything on your own, everybody feels like they don't have time for that. Nobody wants anything that's like busy. And so when you leverage the use of your team and the people around you, people are like, I can do what she's doing. In fact, I can do it better. And that's how you really inspire people to take a hold of the business. So I'm super passionate about those 3-way calls. Now, if I've enrolled somebody and they're like good to go, I like to do a call right in between when they've enrolled and when their box arrives. And so I'll just say, hey, I really want to hop on a quick 5 or 10 minute phone call with my friend Michael, because I want to make sure that if anything ever comes up that you have somebody else to chat with just in case I'm not available. And so that way they know they're being taken care of and they feel that impact of the team right off the bat. And then it takes some of the pressure off of me. So after that phone call, I'll add a 3-way chat. And usually in that phone call, I'll say at the end, hey, I'm going to add us in a 3-way chat. And if you have any questions, let me know. That way you mitigate any buyer's remorse that might happen, and you take the pressure off of yourself. So if I'm in a spin class and they've got a burning question, Michael's in that group chat too, and he can answer maybe faster than me. And so we do that for each other all the time. And then something that I'm super passionate about, thanks to one of my leaders who started doing this, and I realized I was missing the boat. So when we heard Kathy Cooper on September 14th say she had systems, and that's why people really followed her, just because she had a system to create success. So we have really been implementing the new member checklist, and it is so good. So, and it's not only so good, it's so duplicatable. So I love to ask these questions on the phone and then write them all down. And so you just have a binder of this. I like to do it like pen and paper, and I like to ask the questions and have them answer, and I'll just write them down while we're on the phone. And then it really segues nicely into, are you open to earning referral rebates? And then you can do the business builder checklist if they're like, actually, I'm super open to that. So that is a really good system to use, especially if you have anybody coming into your business that's an influencer, that is a high enroller. You have to have a way to keep track of all these amazing people that deserve Nordstrom level service. And I think that's what I always try and think of. Why do people go to Nordstrom? Why do people buy premium things? Because they love the experience and the service. And if we can offer that to everybody, and they feel so good when they get started with us, they feel so taken care of, and they know that their goals matter to us, they're going to not only stay, but they're going to be more keen to get results. So I love to use the new associate checklist. I have a whole stack of them, always like sitting by my computer, and it's a good duplicatable system. Then, of course, open box calls are bomb. I'm sure everybody does them. It's nothing too crazy new, but if you're not doing open the box calls, 100%. What ended up used to happen to me was people wouldn't open their boxes because I wasn't doing open the box calls right in the beginning. And so their auto rewards would come and they wouldn't have even opened their first box, or maybe they just got started. And so opening that box ensures that they get started right that very next day. They crack it open and you're there holding their hand, ready to help coach them for epic results. So those are some kind of key tweaks that I've made along the way to help create that depth and some kind of systems and ways of doing the three-way call. Now, if I'm like, for example, I just joined a new spin studio and I'm loving it. And I don't know if anybody's like me, but I was like, this instructor would be so great at Isogenics, but I don't want her to feel like I'm totally here just to enroll her in Isogenics. And so Michael was like, after me being like, I love this instructor, I love this instructor. Finally, he's like, okay, this is time. So I went up to her and I was like, you would be so great at what we do. I would love to have a conversation with you because your classes are my very favorite and you inspire me so much to just be better. And she was like, yeah, absolutely. What do you do? And so when that question comes up, I love to say a variety of different things. Most of the time, I will just like if it's a business question, like a lot of the moms at school are like, what in the heck do you do? And so I'll be like, oh, I'm a professional network marketer, the most amazing business model. Have you ever heard of it? And I'll really go there. But she was like, what do you do? I'm like, oh, we do nutritional systems called Isogenics. Have you heard of it? If I ever say Isogenics, I always say, have you heard of it right after? And so then she was like, no, I haven't, but let's chat. So we ended up going for coffee after spin class the next week, and Michael was with me, so that was really handy. But if I wanted to set up the call, I would have been like, great. I'm going to send you a message. I'll add you on social media. I'll text you. I'll email you. I'll Instagram you. And let's set up a good time to chat because I know right now is not the time. And then I would arrange the phone call and bring somebody else in. So I always find out a reason to kind of move it there. But if I can mitigate myself saying too much in that moment, that is my best chance for success.
Yeah, that's awesome. Like one of the things that we do on our team is that when we meet a new prospect or something, or somebody messages us from a Facebook post, so they'll see something on social media and they'll go, okay, I've been watching you for like 6 months. I was doing this and it looks like you're getting crazy results and you're traveling all the time. Like, what are you doing? So immediately I'd be like, oh my gosh, it's so exciting that you're looking to get results of your own. What are your top 3 goals? Right. And then they would say, it's this, this, and this, and this, or whatever. Or some of them would just be like, I just want to know what it is. And I'm like, oh, it's a nutritional cleansing system. I'd love to send you a video about what it's all about. So then I would send that Mary Evans video. So what do you guys do? Like, as far as like the message part goes, do you guys use a video? Do you guys use media imagery? Like, where would you say that like, do you customize it per person, or do you kind of just have like a step system that we use?
I love to use the ISAmovie and like my personal link. So like amandabritt.isagenix.com/ISAmovie. And then I have my ISAmovie set up. So I've got all the clinical studies and the recommended packs there and then the movies. And so if they're looking at, and more, if they're like, hey, send me something, I'll ask them like, what are you looking for? And I'll kind of list a couple things. So I'll be like, are you looking for transformations? Do you want clinical studies? Do you want to see, real results? Like, what are you looking for? And then they'll kind of guide me in the right direction. Yeah. If they ask for ingredients, I'll always ask, what are you looking to stay away from? And just kind of like hit that right there. Because I know looking through the ingredients, I really want to walk them through that. So typically they'll just tell me what they're looking to stay away from and I can guide them in the right direction. But I really love ISAmovie. I love that Mary Evans video. I love using our product pages. But I really do like keeping it a quick, tight process. So anything that's not going to prolong it is the best thing ever. So you really want to keep that excitement of the initial conversation alive. So anything that I can really like send them a link and be like, when are you going to have a chance to take a look at this? And let's chat. Kind of like how Eric Worre says in his GoPro book. I've really taken that methodology of making sure they're going to look at it and then following up with that and then doing that call.
Awesome. So if you guys have never heard of Eric Worre before, he's one of our trainers that we've used in Isagenix. And if you are interested in learning about either building your business with network marketing, he's like literally wrote a book called Go Pro. Now, if you are like me and you might not have a ton of time to learn, yeah, absolutely. Rick, you've got the book right there. So he's holding it up for you guys to see. That's such a good book. Another thing that I love to do is I love to listen to like podcasts. So if you guys are interested in that, you can get podcasts available by Eric Worre, and you can also go on YouTube, and he has an incredible channel called GoPro, and you can listen to all of his network marketing teachings, and he actually covers what Amanda is just talking about in one of his videos there. So if you guys go over and check that out, it is so, so good. So that's awesome. I love that. And then what would you say for somebody that is just like filled that paper out that you were talking about like your what was it called again? The Isagenix checklist, the getting started checklist or whatever. So once you've filled out that new member request form and then they're saying, oh yeah, I do want to pay for my pack or I do want to build this business, then how would you coach somebody that's saying, yeah, I actually do want to do this. Like, what do I do from here? Do you get them like immediately just to get any people that are interested into the 3-way chats and just repeat that process again? Or what would you say from there?
So it's different for everybody, which isn't totally 100%, but I love to always ask, who do you know for sure that would do this with you? And people are going to say who they know would for sure do this with you. Great. Let's call them and give them all the information and see if they're going to do this. Because I know you're going to be more successful when you get started right away with at least 2 friends. And then that way they're going to eat for free. And it's a really good support system. I love using the analogy of it's so much better if your girlfriend's doing a cleanse day with you versus being like, hey, I'm coming over with some pizza. And so you want the people that are closest to you in your inner circle to join with you. And so typically we'll get on the phone, we'll do a 3-way messenger chat on Facebook. If they're really hesitant, I'll say, add them into a product page. Let's do a messenger chat, like just whatever they're comfortable with. I'm going to meet them where they're at, depending on a scale of 1 to 10 where they're at. If they just want to get their products paid for, or if they're like, I want to create a business, I'm going to be the next Isagenix millionaire, let's go. It's going to be a different process for each person. But it's sort of like the casual share, I'm like, okay, let's chat with those 2 people that just came to your mind that for sure are going to do this with you. Let's get them started right today. I also love Tana says, she shared this at Celebration. I've heard it a couple times where she's like, all right, you make a list of 10 or 20 names and I'm going to contact them for you, or I'm going to contact them with you. And we're going to go through that and see who's going to do this with you. And so she really guides that process and does a lot of that communication on her own so that she kind of makes sure that they don't get so many no's so they get super deflated. And I really like that. Our team's been experimenting a lot with that. For me, I'm kind of like, let's call them right now. Like, let's get them on the phone. Like, it's your sister? Cool. Let's chat with her. And so I feel like it's very much, if you just feel like you're talking to like, this is your new best friend. And so have that conversation. One time somebody was like shadowing me. They're like, I want to follow you for the whole day. And so I did a call and they're like, okay, who are you talking to? I'm like, it was a 3-way call. Like, it was just somebody that I just met. And they're like, I thought you were talking to your best friend. I'm like, yes, because I treat everybody like they're my new next best friend because they might be. And so really create a comfortable environment where, hey, add in your sister, add in your mom. Let's chat with them. Let's see where their goals are at. Let's link them up. And so instead of making it super formal, I think I love the just kind of like chill, like, cool, let's get them on. Let's go. And then there is a business builder checklist for somebody that's very serious. And so it's going to walk you through, what do you do for your work right now? What does your ideal life look like? Make a list of 10 people. And how much time are you willing to commit? On a scale of 1 to 10, where are you at? All these really good questions that you're going to, what next Core 4 event are you going to be attending? And so you get all of this great snapshot. And actually, we went through and we're doing this with all of our business builders in our entire organization right now because it's such good information. And for my business builders, I also like to follow Kelly Diggerhoof. See, I just take what works with everyone, and then I'm like, okay, I'm going to take that, I'm going to take that, I'm going to take that. So Kelly Diggerhoof said she did a color test and a personality test with her builders. And I was like, oh, genius. And so I started implementing that. So I know how people want to be recognized and how they receive information. So all that stuff kind of more in depth for our business builders that are really wanting to create a big impact and go for it.
That's
But
so cool.
Big on the phone. I wouldn't get on the phone forever. And that was like my biggest fear, was actually phoning someone. And once I got over that, now I do like phone calls all day, every day. And if it's not a phone call, it's a voice note or a video message.
That is so good. I know that they brought that up at the last event that we were at, and the event you hosted in Vancouver. That Super Saturday was so good, and it was something that I clicked with right away, was the realization that we have a whole group of people that are in our network, and we might know them on a friend basis, but we might not know necessarily the personality that they have and their strengths. And what we want to do is not necessarily focus on anybody's weaknesses, but we need to understand the strengths, but we also need to understand the weaknesses. We used to use a program called SWOT analysis when I was in business school. So it's a strength, weaknesses, oppositions, and I can't remember what the T stands for. If anybody knows it, let me know. I can't remember. But it was strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, or opposition, and then something else. I can't remember what it was. But pretty much it's understanding about the strengths that your people have, understanding their weaknesses so that you can celebrate their strengths and get them moving in that, but also raising up those weak areas. Like if they're afraid to jump on a call, like you were saying, or if they're, their strengths are maybe totally talking on the phone, but their social media is majorly lacking, or, something like that. They can bring a person into any kind of call, but they cannot close it. So that brings me to one of our other questions I was going to ask you is that I think on these calls, it is so easy to jump on and talk about what things have been working. But I want to also talk about the opposite side. So just like a strength and weaknesses, can you be vulnerable for a sec, if I may ask, and share about times that were really hard in your business and how you were able to pull yourself from that tough moment out of that? Because I know that you've been doing this for a long time. You and Michael have been building this for a while now. And this is so incredible what you guys have done. And you're leading in the stats in Canada, and you're leading in your area in Vancouver, and I just know that there are probably people on this call, I definitely am one of them, that have gone through hard times, and you're thinking, how do I get out of this, either this rut, or how do I get out of this thing that just doesn't seem to be working? Do you want to share a bit about that?
Sure. I know that so well. And thank you for asking, because I think it's such an important part of the story that doesn't always get told. I remember being so discouraged. Like, I got started around the same time as Peter Kelly. Like, let's just go there. Like, I compared myself. I was like, holy Hannah, I remember like seeing Michael's eyes one time. And I remember him thinking like, I don't think I've ever seen anybody worse at Isogenics than her, like ever. And I was so awful when I first started. But here's the thing, is I was so hungry. And I truly believe it's not the person with the most skill set. It's the person who is the hungriest and willing to stand up and get it. And so that was really what carried me through. I had many nights where I fell asleep crying on my living room carpet, where my son would wake me up and be like, let's go to bed. And as horrible as that is, I was so frustrated because I wanted this so badly. And it really came to, it was Thanksgiving. And this was before I had like really gone for it before the whole Christmas thing. So about this time of year, and we were at dinner, and I was like going for it, I'm like, I'm going to do this. I'm doing it all on my own. So dessert came and I whipped up my computer and I started like, I finally felt like it was the first time that things were happening in my business. Like something was happening. And so I was all excited about it. And I did a call around the corner, and then I came back and I sat down, and my family was all like with this weird look on their face. And they literally, my parents enrolled me in Isogenics. My parents and my family hosted like an ISA intervention. And they were like, look, you're a single mom and you're spending every ounce of your spare time on this business that's not paying you anything. And your son needs you, and you really need to bench this dream because it's not going to happen for you. These are the people that I loved the most, that I respected, that brought me into Isogenics. And I was crushed. I went home, I put my son to bed, and I called Michael and I just said, thank you. Like I resigned. I was like, thank you for believing in me, but like I'm out. And he was like, he listened forever. And finally he's like, how old is your son right now? And I was like, he's 2. He's like, great. Do you remember when you were 2? I was like, no. He's like, but do you remember when you were 5? I was like, yeah, I can remember when I'm like 5 and 6. He's like, great. If you keep doing what you're doing and you stay the course, when your son is in kindergarten, you're going to be the one walking him to school, not your nanny. And it's going to be you at the field trips, and you're going to be the yes mom. So you need to stay the course, and that's what's going to happen. And that was the vision that he put. And I didn't even know why. Like I had heard that you should have a big why and it should be your kids, but I didn't have like a deadline. I didn't have anything tactical. And so from that point, I was like, I'm going to walk my son to school. I wiped my tears. And anytime anybody kind of came at me with the negativity, I was just like, I'm going to walk my son to school. I'm going to walk my son to school. And so that was what I really kept in my heart. And it wasn't with, like, I can't even count the amount of times I just cried in my car. Like my son would be like, it's okay. At 2 years old, constantly being like, it's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. But I knew that I wanted something different. In my Isogenics build, I bounced a rent check to go to an ICU. I got my car repossessed. I got an eviction notice. I was really at the bottom of the bottom, and there was no way to go but up. I had no financial support. I was representing myself in court, trying to get, full custody of my son. There were so many things going on. But one thing that I knew was for certain, that if I put in the effort, eventually the results were going to happen. And so even if I was really, really bad and I didn't have the skills right now, I knew that the only way to get the skills was to learn them. And so every time I just failed forward, and I wiped my tears and I kept going. And I built my business in very little pockets of my day. So I would go to the bathroom at work and make phone calls. I would do it in the at night. So when they couldn't pay me, but they still wanted me to work to try and bring our company up and out. And since it was a family business, I was like, yes. So I was literally working for free. So I was fitting in Isogenics in the pockets of my time, and then I would find a way to actually send emails. So I would work till 3 a.m, and then I would have all those emails, all my follow-up emails, come in at 6 a.m. So people didn't know I was working through the night. And so I just really stayed focused on walking my son to school. That was all that mattered to me. And I knew exactly what I needed to get there. I did Susan slide meditations. I did anything that it was going to take to just know that that's where I was going to be at that time. So it was actually so ingrained for me that when it came time for him to be in kindergarten, I had a really hard time finding another goal. So I did that in a very short period of time. I was able, it was a very short period of time. But I think it's so important to not always see the glamorous side of everything. Not everybody gets yeses all the time. And it's okay if you just suck at this right now. That's okay. If your entire family thinks that you are awful at this, it's okay. It doesn't matter, because everybody that said no then, everybody that laughed at me, everybody that said I was in a pyramid scheme, everybody that had awful things to say about me on social media, behind my back, whatever, it doesn't even matter, because now those exact same people are like, I'm so inspired by you. I can't believe the life of you get to live. And irrelevant of any of their opinions, my son knows exactly what I do every single day, and that we work our tushes off, even though he told me to get a real job the other day, because we work hard still. We work really hard. And he was like, can you just get a real job? But I mean, it's amazing to really, I knew that what I wanted, and I wasn't afraid of how long it was going to take me. Now, it's deflating, when they say you overestimate what you're going to earn in the year number 1, but you massively underestimate what you're going to earn in year number 5, that's 100% the truth. the first year I caught the vision. I was like, oh, I'm going to be a millionaire. I'm going to make 6 figures. And then it like didn't happen to that extent. And I was like, I just expected this thing to explode. But when it came to year number 5, I remember doing, an analysis of my business and being like, holy wow, I created this. I never could have imagined that it would be like this. And so I think not to get too far, like not to get too ahead of yourself, and always celebrate every single win. To this day, I will have like a 30-minute dance party for every enrollment, for every win. I believe in celebrating everything, like everything. Every Monday is a celebration. I get my iSolve load and I still just bawl my eyes out. Michael's like, really? Like, really? I'm like, this is just so amazing. Like, really, when we look at the impact. And I think when we're sharing, like right now, we know if you look at the housing market, if you look at the economic trends, if you look at what's coming in Q1 of 2020, and if you look at what happened in 2008, I know that our family was massively shook by that last recession. And it was so hard for us. And seeing the vehicle of Isagenix, how it's transformed our family in the last 10 years, and where we're at today, where my parents are at in their finances, they do Isagenix now full time. They're like snowbirds. It's great. And when we know what's happening, where jobs are already, the Deutsche Bank, they just let go of like how many tens of thousands of jobs. We know it's coming. We see it happening in real estate. And so everybody that we talk to right now, whether or not they say yes, letting them know that there's an opportunity here, because those same people might be the people that need that financial lifeline coming up. Those same people are going to know that you're the person that they come and talk to, even if they say no right now, because people are going to be coming on really hard times. We know it's just what happens. It's just the timeline. Every 10 or so years, the economy goes through stuff. And so if you aren't with so much conviction and passion, taking yourself out of the equation and busting through those fears and talking to people and letting them know what's available to them, because one day they're going to be praying for a solution. And if your name is the one that comes to their mind when they know that they need a secondary income, or maybe they need a primary income all of a sudden, or maybe they need a backup plan, and they think of you, that's everything. Because I know when my parents thought we've known Michael, he's been a family friend forever. Now he's part of the family. But when they needed Isagenix, they knew who to go to, because they had had that conversation so many times. And so I think once I started taking myself out of the equation, it got a lot better. My 3 best friends all do Isagenix now. They all make incredible incomes. They're so grateful. It took them a while. It took me going first and really failing a whole lot. But at the end of the day, none of that matters. Nobody sees that. It was embarrassing massively, but I developed the skills that I have today that help me so much. And they're skills that I'm going to use in all aspects of my life. Yeah. So when my son gets asked on career day, what does his mommy do? And he says she helps people's dreams come true. It makes every single sleepless night and cry fest totally worth it.
That is so amazing. Like when you started to go into that place where after I asked that question about going vulnerable, I was literally like holding back the tears. I don't know if you guys like comment in the box, you guys, if you guys don't know how to use the comment box, but below, if you just scroll your mouse over top the screen, there's a little thing that says chat. It's like a little bubble. Can you just throw some love in there for Amanda? This call is literally like amazing. I'm sitting here like, I love the energy that you bring and the passion you bring. And like your story is incredible. Like every opposition, you had literally every opposition against you. You had like a very small network of people, your entire office that was already using the products. The only people that you really could talk to and your family was already using the products was Starbucks baristas. And that's how you started building your business. And I just think like everything that you have done, if you actually look back on it, it's a marker of overcoming your circumstances based on being hungry, being passionate, and not letting anyone else determine, or your circumstances determine like your future. And I just think that is so funny, because before this call started, I was putting together a playlist on my computer for the music of like when we start the call, and I labeled it Overcomer, and that was the song that I played as you came on to this call tonight. So I just think that is so, so cool. Like I believe in God, and I just believe that God is giving you that message. Just, I know specifically for somebody who's listening right now, but I know that this message is going to go out to so many people that are going to be so empowered by your story, Amanda. And I'm just so grateful that you took the time to jump on tonight and share this with anybody, and our team, and anybody that wanted to jump on. I want to celebrate everybody that is here, and I want to open up, if you want to ask a question right now to Amanda, we want to just open up the floor for the next few minutes before we end the call, because we want to honor everybody's time. If you have any questions for her, just either pop them in the chat, say me, and I'll untag you or unmute you. Does anybody have any questions for Amanda? I'll watch the screen too if you want to ask her anything. I think everybody's like so wowed right now by your story. Like, it's so powerful. Like, it
the
is
first
so
time that I told it, Michael was like, why don't you share like your business testimonial? Like, you make really good income and like it's changed a lot of things. And I was like, yeah, sure. I didn't even think anything of it. And for the first time I started going into it, I ended up ugly crying with my butt to the audience, like sobbing. I couldn't even stop crying. I didn't, because I'd never like actually out loud, like told my story. And I couldn't believe it. I was like, this is so embarrassing. And he made me like work through it. And it was like ugly crying, like spitting, the whole bit. So I've come a long way in being like able to like hold it together.
Whew. I'm like, I usually can hold it together, and I'm like, it's like, it's so powerful. I just think that is so incredible about, like, literally when I first got started, I remember somebody saying to me, like, Trina, you cannot fail at this business. Like, and I remember when I went to missionary school in Africa, our leader had been through like literally every single thing that could have happened to knock her down, from like disease and illnesses to like things happening to her kids, to no money, to natural disasters, to like everything was just like, it was like raining on her with all this hardship. And she just kept saying to us, if you don't quit, you win. And ever since that I started Isogenics, it was my first event I went to in Sydney, Australia. It was an IC University, which is coming up in Vancouver, you guys, from October 24th to the 26th. It's so incredible. I'm going to get to see you there, Amanda. So if you guys come, you'll get to meet Amanda. But it was my first event I went to, and I heard one of the leaders say that if you do not quit, you win. You literally cannot fail at this business unless you quit. And I just love what you said is that you just kept going and you kept learning. And I think that is such a key, that not just overcoming your mindset issues, but also having an open mind to learn from other people. Because you said initially, you're like, nope, I'm going to do it my way. And then you were like, okay, I actually need to listen a little bit of these systems that are already developed. And because you were open and you've learned, you've literally, I heard this today too. I was listening to TD Jakes talk, and he said, you literally immerse yourself in a culture and then you become like the culture you immerse yourself in. So he said it was like a difference between a worm and a butterfly. If you hang out with a bunch of worms, you're going to be crawling on your belly and you're going to be down low, and it's going to be hard, and it's never going to be transforming. But if you hang out with the butterflies, you're going to go from a place of being the worm to cocooning and becoming and transforming into this beautiful image of what it was always created to be, right? And I just think that's so powerful for your story, that you went from a place of such hardship and such defeat to a place of just totally overcoming your circumstances because you had the why, you focused on your why, you focused on the fact that you were open, and you decided, you made a decision. And I think that those three things are so, so powerful, and it's so needed. I mean, we can talk all day about how to do a 3-way call or how to do these steps to talking to people, but really it does come down to those three things. We know the products sell themselves. We know that they're going to get results. We know that, I love that, Brie, with the butterflies. I know that, that we have all of this opportunity, the systems, we have everything we need to succeed. But what it takes is going at it with that overcoming attitude. First of all, you can't overcome anything if you don't have a why. So you got to have the why first. Then you go for it because you know how important that is to you. And then just being immersed in that culture of being open to everybody and picking the things that actually ignite to who you naturally are. Because that's the one thing that I think is so cool about your story is you never necessarily changed on who you are. You were always authentic to yourself, but you took these key things to help you keep going and keep immersing yourself and keep learning so that you can better yourself through this process. And like you said, it's not just about Isagenix. This is something you can use in all aspects of life. And I think that that is so cool. So thank you so much for jumping on the call tonight. Like, it's just been such an honor to have you here, and I really appreciate your time. And we're so excited. Next week, we're going to have another speaker. So if you guys jumped on the call later this evening, we are shifting our Monday night 8 p.m. Alberta time calls to Sunday nights, because a lot of people are having to watch the recordings instead of being here and asking questions. You know, like, you guys have an opportunity to ask any question you want about Isagenix to Amanda right now. So before I shut this down, here's your last chance to ask her any questions. But if you guys want, I can unmute you if you have anything you want to ask. I know everybody's sort of, yep, okay, great. I'm going to unmute you, Ash. Go for it, girl.
Hi. It's not necessarily a question. I'm just like, so I'm I'm here cleaning right now, and it's 8 o'clock at night, and I try to hold myself together. I still have 4 hours of cleaning left to do, and I have 3 kids, and I only get to spend 2 nights a week with my kids because I have to work. And you're just like, I'm here cleaning, and like, I want to laugh, but I'm crying because I'm emotional, but you're so inspiring, and you're super motivating, because I have my biggest passion in the world is to just help people. And I'm just, we're going to hang out. but thank you. This call was exactly what I needed to hear tonight. So thank you.
I love that. Thank you. And I think, like, the biggest thing is just don't be afraid to be like, tell people why you're doing this. And when Michael was like, tell people why, and I was like, hell no, like, I don't want people to think that because I'm like a single mom and I'm struggling, and like I'm trying to sell them something that's not going to benefit them because they think I need money, and like I'm going to look desperate. And I had all these reservations, and he's like, no, seriously, tell people your vision. And people laughed at me. They're like, you can't be a stay-at-home single mom. That's not a thing. I remember somebody was like, I'm not sure if anybody told you, but that's not possible. And I was like, oh, okay. Like, it's on now, sister. And so I think, like, that's the biggest thing, is just be like bold in your vision of where you're going. And with conviction, be like, I might be working this many jobs and doing this many things, but like, I'm going here and I'm looking for your help. So you can support me in commenting on my posts. You can give me referrals, and really like lean in and ask people for help at whatever capacity, even if it's not enrolling. Because I firmly believe, like, it is so powerful what we can create with Isagenix when we just want to, and when we don't compare ourselves to anybody. Because I remember being like, oh, that person might start 1,000. I'm never going to go start 1,000. Oh, that person just hit, 6 figures. I'm never going to hit 6 figures. And I was like so caught up in this like comparison. And then all of a sudden I realized at the end of the day, it doesn't matter that I hit start 1,000 18 months after that person. Like, it doesn't matter. It just matters to like stay the course, and you're on the calls and you're doing the things. I believe when there's so much hard in our lives, we just have to pick the hard. I was like, if not this, then what? And I had no answer for that, because I was already working my tush off, and there wasn't very many jobs of what I was doing in a recession. So I was like, okay, this is it. And if it's not now, then when is it going to be? And even like, it's crazy. We're helping somebody who is like massively successful in her corporate job. And literally she's like, I want to do Isagenix because I don't want to work when I'm 50. And I don't want to work when I'm 50. And I'm going to do this. And it just like blew my mind that no matter where people are, no matter the people that we look up to, that so many roads lead to Isagenix. And so we're so ahead of the curve, even if there's struggle right now. Like, we're so ahead of the game. I'm so excited. I hope you're coming to ICU.
I am.
Yes.
I'll be there.
Oh man, I was just like a waterfall when you start talking, Ash, because the reason I introduced you guys to each other at the event is because I see the same fire, Amanda, that you have. I see that in Ashley, and I'm just so excited for what, like, she's going to surpass anything that I ever do in this business, like, hands down. Just so you guys know, this girl's a superstar right here. And I just see like everything that you have within you, Ashley, is so reminds me of Amanda. And that's one thing I love about these calls we're doing is that, you know, one week you might not necessarily relate to the speaker, but the next week, heck yeah, you're going to, because we're one big family. We're all here to support each other. And that's what this is all about, is this networking that we're doing, even within the business, is about connecting to people that you can relate to. Because if you feel like you're the only one out there, you get that feeling like I'm the only one, you know, that's out there that's dealing with this. I'm the only one that's going through this hardship. Then we create a story when we end up trying to support that story, right? And like Eric Worre always says is if that story's not serving you, you need to get a different story, right? And so if you can hear that story from somebody that has been there and has overcome that, I just think that that's so powerful. So is there any other questions? That was so good. I mean, it doesn't have to be a question, but it can be a comment. Like, you guys got so much information tonight. I know that for sure. But anybody want to say anything before we end the call tonight? I know David just jumped on. Go for it, Richard.
Hi, guys. I'm sitting here in Nova Scotia, and it's almost midnight my time. But I just wanted to, I got a message from Trina about this call being on tonight. And I just, when I saw it was Amanda, I could not be on the call. Your passion shines through so well. And I've known you for a long time. And it's great to see you. And it's great to see how all the things that we've learned over the years you have encompassed and used to make your business go. And then to top all of it off, I see my friend Erin Kint, who from Auckland, New Zealand, suddenly comes on the phone call. The last time I remember Erin, we were sending her home from an event in Brisbane to have her baby. So these things are so great. To even just take action and do something, for me, has meant a lot tonight, both from you, Amanda, from Trina, and then seeing Erin again. It's been fantastic.
Awesome. Thanks for sharing that, Richard. That's so cool. I just, you know, like we have this huge company. Like, this is such a huge company that's been around for 20 years. But honestly, I just about to hit, in 4 days, I'm going to hit my 1-year anniversary with this business. In 4 days, you guys, from the day that I put the first products in my body till now. And it's been a year, and I have made so many incredible relationships and so many friends and so many, which feels like family. Like, I feel like we're one huge big family. And to be able to have that feeling after such a short time in this business, I think is so powerful, because it just goes to show the type of leadership that we have in this business. You know, like, to be able to have leaders like Jim and Kathy, like, you know, personally one-on-one coach us at the event like we had at Amanda and Michael's event in Vancouver. That was incredible. Thank you. That was so good. You know, to be able to have that access to feel like family is something that is my biggest thing in this business, is the fact that people are always asking, what's my favorite part? Is it the products? Is it the compensation plan? Is it the PIBs? Is it the free coupons we get? What is it? And I say, hands down, the community. If you feel like you have support and you have a family and you have community and people to back you up and cheer you on, that is so needed in a world of so many people that feel like they are hiding behind a computer screen. They can't connect with anybody. They're looking for approval. They're looking for something. And to have that in this business, I think, is so powerful. So, anyone else want to say anything before we end? I know David just jumped on. David Craig, DC from Vancouver. Aaron here.
Hey, David. I was just going to say, I'll get on next week as well. This is my pickup kids time. So that baby is somewhere screaming as a 3-year-old in the background, ripping around on their cars somewhere. I don't know. But yeah, I'll jump on, and I've got a bunch of team there as well that we'll get going a bit more now that there's a call. So thank you so much for this, Trina. That's
Absolutely.
amazing.
Yeah. I just felt, you know, like, it's so easy to get to a point where you're just like, this is our team call, and block that in. But I just felt like, you know what, we're going to do something different. We're going to be the team that opens up our call for anyone to jump on, because I think that it just shows about what we're actually about, you know, and that's about openness. It's about unity. It's about helping each other and inspiring each other. And I just think, like, why not? Let's just go for it. So yeah.
I love it.
Sorry.
It's funny that we literally are all on the same team. Like Kathy Cooper started Isogenics and she started with one on the left and one on the right. Like we're literally all on the same team.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, it's so cool to see you, Erin. I love the weather out there. We have like 2 feet of snow outside right now here in Alberta.
I'm not.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm not jealous. I was going to ask, what's the focus for these calls, just so I can set it up?
Yeah,
and let people know as
absolutely.
well.
So for anyone that's jumping on or listening to this whole call, this whole Sunday night call is all about back to basics right now. We're going to have different people jumping on, different leaders. I would love to have Janice Heron on. I've talked to Erin Postal about coming on and sharing some of her mindset things. So this is for anybody that's either been in the business for 20 years or it's your first day in the door. Everyone's going to be able to get a chance to feel the community. They're going to get a chance to learn something, but it's pretty much usually we interviewed Amanda today. She shared about her incredible story about how she overcame everything, but then she also shared about how she talks to people and her steps in getting those people in the door and repeating that process. So yeah, we're kind of giving Isogenics like everything in a nutshell within about an hour. So
awesome. That's what I was going to ask next with the time frame. So awesome. Yeah. Okay. Thank you so much, Trina.
Absolutely.
I better jump off before they find me. But
Sounds
Richard,
good.
I just want to say, that's the 3-year-old there, the big one. That was 3 years ago. Crazy to think. He's 3, he says. Awesome. I'll send you a message, Richard, anyways. And thank you, Amanda. I'm sorry I missed it, but if you guys have a recording, I'll absolutely watch
I'll post that in our team page for sure, Erin.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, have a great day.
Bye.
Bye. Awesome. Well, does anybody else want to say anything before we end? We are just at the, checking the time. We are at the, exactly. We got 3 minutes left. So anybody else want to say something before we jump off?
I'll say hi.
Hey.
So hello, everybody. Sorry I was late. Duty called, but I'm super happy we're going to be doing this on a regular basis. It means a lot. It's nice to have something to invite people to. So good on you. This is super pumped about this.
That's sweet. Yeah, and we've recorded it, like we said, as ever. I recorded the one from last week. So last week we interviewed Gabrielle Dean, and then this week we've got Amanda Britt, and next week we're going to have another guest speaker. So I'll keep that a surprise until we lock that in, and then we'll go from there. But it's just been an honor, and thank you guys so much for jumping on. Amanda, you're amazing. I can't wait to see you in a couple weeks at IC University. Also, just a quick note for anybody that didn't hear about the live today. If you are wanting to go to IC University, if you have people that are wanting to go to IC University in Vancouver, you can use a new code to get $20 discount. So if you guys don't know this, you can use this code. It's called Trainer Van. So trainer, like Trainer. I'm dyslexic, so I have to write it down. Van, and you put that on the code, and you will get $20 off when you go to buy that on isogenicsevents.com. So if you guys didn't see that live on the business page, definitely use that code. This is an opportunity for you to get a whole bunch more tickets and get them before they sell out, because we're almost sold out at the Toronto event that's happening this week in Toronto. I know Ashley's got a ton of team out there in Ontario. So this Thursday, Friday, Saturday, it is with David Wood, and that's going to be University in Action. Is that right? Or do I have this backwards? Yeah. University in Action in Toronto, and IC University on October 24th, 25th, and 26th in Vancouver. So if you guys have not got your tickets to that, definitely get your people there. It changed my life. It changed Amanda's life. And it's going to change your guys' life and your team. As soon as you get them in the community and you show them from a third-party person, is so powerful. As well, we have a super Saturday this October 5th in Calgary. Tresley and Ryan Fry are going to be hosting it. I'm speaking there. We've got a bunch more speakers that are going to be jumping in there. And it's going to be a really, really cool event. There's going to be free prizes. So if you guys have team that are not necessarily in your area but are in Calgary and you want them to get there, or new people, it's free for any guests that aren't enrolled yet. But if you do want to get them there, your tickets before, if they're already enrolled, are $20 online and $30 at the door. So this is another incredible event for you guys to get like incredible amount of teaching, like 6 months of teaching into one Saturday event. So definitely want to jump on board and get your people there. And the weather will be good. It's supposed to be plus 16 this rest of the week, so it'll melt all the snow. Awesome. Love you guys so much. And thanks all again for jumping on. I'm going to take a quick screenshot before we end this call. Everybody smile. Sweet. Awesome. Okay, well, have a good night, and we'll see you all next Sunday. Bye, guys.